I just want to welcome you on behalf of IRCA, and I want to thank AT&T for their sponsorship of this afternoon's Business After Hours. I'd like to welcome Andrea Hawkins, who will be speaking with us. Her topic today is Solutions to Survive and Thrive in Your Business. Let me just tell you a little bit about Andrea. She's the owner of Leading Culture Solution. She was twice awarded the Millard H. Pryor Award for Service to recognize her 20 years of volunteer work with the Amistad Center for Art and Culture. And she's currently on their Board of Trustees and the Human Resources Leadership Forum Board of Directors. And she served on the YWCA Hartford Regional Board. And she's, as I mentioned, is a member of the Connecticut River Valley Chamber Board of Directors. She and her husband, Doug, own Birkin's Blend, which is an amazing coffee shop. And there's one in Glastonbury and one in Hartford. So right now, she's going to share a little bit with us, just give us some idea about strategic planning by how to evaluate our current status of our business and think about how we're going to move forward in this dynamic world that we're living right now. So Andrea, welcome and thank you so much. If everybody could just mute, we can let Andrea talk and then we'll have some Q&A.
So thank you so much for inviting me here to speak. And I will let any of you know, I did something similar with the Bloomfield Chamber of Commerce, and we thought it might be helpful to come talk to IRCA just to spread the word. So I certainly don't plan to be a talking head here today. I think there are a lot of people here that have had experiences and that we can all learn from each other. So just please know, I offer one perspective, but there are many other perspectives. So I'm hoping that we use this time today for me to share some information with you, but then for you to sort of share what's working for you, because all of us have different businesses and different things might work for different people. Is that a deal? Can I see a reaction of a thumbs up? Awesome, awesome, fantastic, I love it. So as Mary Ellen mentioned, amongst the many hats that I wear, I started my own consultancy after I worked for a firm called the Clarion Group. I'm not sure if you guys are familiar with them, but they were in West Hartford. And I worked for them for 3 years. And I thought to myself, you can probably do this on your own. And so I branched out on my own after having worked in many large companies and seeing a lot of different cultures. I've been very interested in how organizations work, what gets people excited to get up and come to work every day. So I really did focus my energy in this part of my career, really helping organizations think about how they make their culture healthy and how they get their employees to continue to be excited about coming into work. And I think one of the central tenets around employees wanting to come to work and coming to work every day is understanding what that business is there to do. Like what's the purpose of your business? What problem is it trying to solve? And then once employees understand what that is, then they can coalesce around that idea. We hear so many compliments, and if you look on social media, we have been blessed with so many people that have taken time to write us comments about how nice our employees are and how clean the business is and how important it is and how we treat each person. Everyone knows everyone's name and they get their coffee drinks right. To us, our customer experience is paramount. And so when we interview employees, we tell them, we're not interested in having a major corporation. We're not giving you a bunch of metrics on how many coffees you sell, but it matters to us that this environment is really, really clean and that our customers are really, really happy. So let's figure out how to make sure those two things, we don't give them 15 things to worry about and think about. We give them 2 things to think about. They can wrap their minds around that and they can succeed and excel on those things. And we know it because people write about it. So that's what is important in every business, for people to understand what you stand for and what are the top 1, 2, 3 things that you really want your employees focused on. So that brings us to strategic planning. Don't you hate that term? I hate that term. When I heard that term for the first time, I thought to myself, what the heck does that mean? So I want to simplify strategic planning because seriously, it ain't that serious, but it is. Strategic planning is all about one word. What's that one word? I'm gonna let somebody guess. What's the one word that strategic planning is really all about?
Planning.
Another word.
Future.
Another word.
Results.
Results. Okay, you gave me 3 words. It's not the words I was looking for.
Mission.
Focus. Focus. Strategic planning is about focus. I wish they would just call it focus. Because then people would get their minds around what they're trying to do. Yes, planning is an important part around focusing, but that's what the ultimate goal is here. So why do we want to focus? I know for every one of you that has a business, probably on a daily basis, at least 1 or 2 or 3 people come to you and say, you know what you should do? You know what you should try? Have you ever thought about this? I know we get it all the time. And we would love to be able to do every idea that each of our customers come in and present us with. And without us having a strategic plan and a focus, we would be trying to do every single one of those things. So a strategic plan helps you really get centered on what it is that you want to do for this time. So what's for this time mean? I'm going to tell you right now, people will say to you, I have a 10-year strategic plan. And I'm going to say to you, that's a big waste of paper and you should probably throw it away, or electronic file. Because the world is changing so fast that you cannot plan out that far anymore. And as a matter of fact, with a pandemic that we're all living in right now, I would contend you really should only be planning in 3 to 6 month intervals. Now that's ridiculous. You would say, really? That's such a short period of time. How do you get focused around it? Well, I don't know about for your businesses, but we were not online. When this pandemic hit, we didn't have online ordering services. You couldn't pick up your coffee any other way than walking in and getting a coffee. I mean, we had one model, and we had to quickly pivot and figure out what we wanted to do and how we were going to serve our customers and continue to stay in business. So the importance of this is to say strategic planning should set some future goal, but it should also be informed by what's happening in the world, right? In the world that we're living in. So just think about that. In normal times, we would say a strategic plan should not go out more than 3 years. Anything more than that, the world's changing too rapidly. And I would even bet to say, as technology continues to evolve, that number of years is going to get shorter and shorter because there are just so many disruptions happening in all sectors because of technology. But doing this work will help you decide really where you want to focus your energy. So what are the components of strategic planning? So the first thing you want to do, and this is not going to be a surprise to you, if any of you went to business school or even had a business for a little while, you know, in order to understand your current state, you want to do a SWOT, right? So we've heard of a SWOT, looking at your strengths and your weaknesses, which are internally focused, and then your opportunities and your threats, which are externally focused. That's how you're going to determine sort of what's happening right now, like what is my current situation? And then you want to start to identify what you want your future state to be. Some businesses decide, I want to be on par with the market. Some say, you know what, I don't need to be on par with the market. I can lag a little bit and that's okay for our business. And then there's some businesses that decide that they want to be leading edge, right? So you really have to decide for your own business what's right for you. And yes, you can have some combination. In some areas, you might want to say, it's okay for us to lag, but we want to lead in this particular area. And that is okay. What's important is determining what you want that to be for yourself and making a statement about it. Now, when I say make a statement, I don't mean paragraphs and paragraphs of words. I've seen strategic plans that I think by the time I'm through the end of the strategic plan, the whole world has changed because it's such a long strategic plan. So again, this is about simplicity. This is about agility. This is about quickly getting to where you're trying to go and take your business. Once you do your current state and you identify where you want to go from a future state standpoint, then you really want to spend some time thinking about, okay, what is that one problem that our business wants to solve for? What's the one problem? I want to grow our market share in this arena. One statement, just one sentence, right? Really simplistic. If anyone read that sentence, they should get what your problem is that you're trying to solve. So that may take bringing people in with you to help you formulate and identify all of these things that we've talked about. So it's not enough for you to sit in a room by yourself and try to figure out all these things. You want to bring either people who are in the business that you trust already, and then key partners that you trust, and customers who actually utilize your services or products. That's how you want to come to this information. You don't want 70 people in this process, but between 10 and 20, depending on the size of your organization and the number of services and products that you offer, that's what you want to do, sort of bring this small group together to help you go through this. Once you have your central challenge, it's like being on a sled sliding downhill. Once you know what problem you're solving, then you can identify what 3 to 4 priorities you want to solve for. In a time like now where we're working on a 6-month plan, I really only want to come up with 2 or 3 priorities. You might feel this need to identify 6 things you want to do or 7 things, but quite frankly, I don't know about you. I wake up in the morning around, 5:30, 6 o'clock, and before I know it, it's 6 o'clock again, right? And the day is over. Even though we're in this time where it feels like things should be moving so much slower, I don't know. You guys are business owners. My day's flying by. Is your day flying by? Didn't you think it was going to be slower when we were in the middle of a pandemic? And I am shocked at how fast the days are going. So this is why I'm saying, set yourself up for success. Focus on the things that are really, really important to you and put those things down as key priorities. Now, what's the difference between an initiative and a priority? A priority is more a strategic level, right? So there are activities that you still need to do to accomplish that priority. That's how you know if it's at the priority level. Do I still need to do something to accomplish it? Once you've identified those 2 to 3 priorities, you then want to identify the key initiatives that link to the priorities. And again, the priorities are all going to be in service of whatever that sentence, that central challenge, or that problem, that one problem that you said you wanted to solve for. Then you're going to have your 2 to 3 priorities, and then you're going to have, again, 3 to 4 initiatives across. So that means each priority only gets 1 or 2 initiatives. Why am I forcing you to limit yourself? We only have a certain amount of time. If we're thinking like right now, if we're planning for 6 months, there's just not a lot of time. In 6 months, I can't even believe, can you believe we shut down the state March, I think it was March 17th. It is almost May 17th. I don't know about you, but I don't know where the time went. March, April, May. Where did the time go? I have no idea. So time will go quickly. So this is a good way to set yourself up for success and achieve the goals that you want to achieve. You may not feel that you have time to pause and go through a process like this, but this is something, depending on the size of your business, that you should dedicate 4 to 8 hours doing this. This is not a 1 week or a month long or a 2 month long process. If someone's telling you that you are doing planning for that amount of time, I'm telling you, life is changing and moving too fast for you to spend the amount of time to do it. So I'm saying if you're going to focus, if you're going to spend the energy getting focused, it's at max 1 day to do this work. But that does mean lining up people that can help you see yourself, because all of us may perceive ourselves one way, but the people that work with us or work around us may perceive ourselves another way. So it's just really important to get other people's perspective in it, to really get to the right focus area, to get to the right problem that you're trying to solve, to identify those 2 to 3 priorities, and then those 3 to 4 initiatives. Was that simple? Pretty straightforward? Thumbs up? Do you feel like you could do it?
That was excellent.
Yes.
I thought it was phenomenal.
Yep.
I've never been through something in 15 minutes like that provided so much clarity. Thank you.
Good.
Now I have to do my 4 to 8. Now I have to do my 4 to 8 hours.
There you go. There you go. So again, like I said, the world is changing very quickly. I'd just be curious from all of you, what's different in your businesses? And is there something that you heard today that will help you refocus your business and what you're doing?
So Andrea, the executive committee of the chamber just did a SWOT analysis. I just finished pulling it all together today, and we're bringing that up at our meeting tomorrow morning. So my question is, ideally, we should be looking 6 months out, you're saying, for planning? At this point?
Right now, yeah, at this point, I wouldn't go any further than 6 months, because I do believe that the world is going to either be the same in 6 months or be vastly different in 6 months, better or worse.
Sorry, I was wondering if even a shorter time frame made sense because of what we're in.
You absolutely can plan. The only thing I would say is, if whatever you're planning for in 6 months, is the world going to change so drastically that it would warrant new priorities? Because this is all about, has your central challenge changed? So for us, our central challenge was, how do we stay in business? How do we offer what we offer through our cafes and stay in business? That was our problem to solve. So that caused us to say, we need a stronger digital presence. We need better delivery tools. We need a better customer engagement model. So those were the 3 areas that we've been focused on for our own business, and that's it. That really is it. Now, there are a lot of other things that we want to do, like, for example, we're coming up on our 5-year anniversary. We wanted to plan a big, a big celebration, and you would think that would have been a priority for us. It's like, oh, we have to do this, but guess what? No customer, no business, no celebration. So this is where I'm saying we have furniture that's starting to, get worn in the shop. I said to we should, while we have downtime, we should paint and we should, get new furniture. And he looked at me and he said, no customers, no delivery model, no, right? So it really helped us stay and get very focused in on the priorities. But thank you. It's a really good question.
Andrea, I have a question. You talked about what do you want the problem to be? What is the problem you solve for? And then come up with 3 to 4 priorities that you want to use to, I assume, solve that problem. Can you give me just a very high level example of that, how that works? I just can't picture it in my head.
Yeah, so for example, improving our digital, so for us, right, this whole notion of staying in business, being a viable business, we said that was our new central challenge. That was not our problem. That was not an issue for us prior to COVID. We had plenty of customers, so we said, we need to figure this out. One of our key priorities was to improve our digital presence. So that was a priority. So what did that mean? Well, we didn't have our menus on our website. You couldn't order a gift card on our website. We really hadn't done anything with our Twitter account at all. We weren't using Instagram much. So we just really spent a lot of time. We didn't have any delivery services. So we just really worked on all of the digital assets that we had. We just hadn't really used them. So that digital piece was bringing to life some of these initiatives. The initiatives were really around setting up Grubhub and, updating the website. I think we had, 3 or 4 for each of the priorities.
Okay, great. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah. Andrea, Eric
Yes.
Judge,
Hey,
great
Eric.
job. I really
Thank
enjoyed
you.
what you shared. It's fantastic. One thing I wouldn't mind hearing a little more discussion on. So obviously in this you have employees, and you as the business owners have, tweaked your strategic plan. I'd be interested in how you went about kind of sharing with them your plan and receiving their feedback and taking some of their concerns. As we're all trying to reopen, that's one of the discussions right now. There are some people who are very apprehensive. So I'm curious to hear how those discussions went in your business.
Yeah, so because we didn't close, Eric, we continued our regular channels of updating our employees. For us, it wasn't as much of an impact to an employee because, you know what, they still serve customers. They're still sort of using technology to serve our customers. So it was introducing that new technology, and it was, when we went to masks, letting them know about, having to wear a mask, or letting them know that now we were allowing for customers to pick up through our drive-through, for example. So what are the various ways, or setting the expectation that if a customer called and didn't feel safe to come into the store, it was okay to walk out to the car to bring their drink out to the car. So we used our normal communication channels, Eric. I think because we didn't shut down completely, we were still in ongoing communication with our employees as normal. We talk to them every day, all day, just because it's such a high volume business. It's all about, supplies and customers and food. And so we have a pretty regular channel. I think it would have been different, though, if we had shut down.
Okay.
Or if we had to so drastically change what we were offering, but that didn't really change.
Great. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other thoughts? I know.
What's working? Go ahead.
Go right ahead, Andrea.
No, I was just going to say for other people, what is working for you? I mean, all of you have probably had to make pivots in your businesses, and I'm just curious, from your business, what are you doing differently? Steve, I know you said you don't like having to be home. What's different for you, and how have you had to make your pivot and do your own sort of personal strategic planning changes?
If you just hit your space bar, it'll unmute you. If anybody has any comments?
The only, this isn't something new. Some of these people have been on Zoom meetings with me recently, and I've said the same thing a couple of times, but I'll say it again. I've been up and through these ups and downs for a long time. And while we were focused on one area, and that has kind of taken gone sideways a little for the time being, one of the things that we always do and always have gone back to is customer contact. I think you talked about it, Andrea, through Twitter and your Instagram posts and things like that. That's customer contact. We just got on the phone and started calling people. How are you? How are you doing? Just to touch base. We kept in touch with a lot of our insurance carriers to make sure that we were up to speed on what they were doing, so that we could pass that along to our different clients. When customers were, a lot of the insurance carriers gave credits because people were driving. we had an email campaign set up to go out each one of those segments of our marketplace to let them know that we're here, they're getting a credit, it's great news, so we try to broadcast the good news and deliver the bad news in person.
Mm.
There you go.
Andrea, I think even if you're in sales and you're an employee, you can still set a strategic plan for yourself. And looking
Absolutely.
at what you've outlined would be really a great way for people to set individual goals, either personal goals or professional goals. But you do say that it makes sense to talk to, have other people buy in and weigh in. What would you suggest for an employee who is a salesperson that's trying to set their own goals? Should they talk with somebody or just kind of work it out themselves?
Well, I always think collaboration is great. One of the things that I am so impressed with in the town of Glastonbury is, and I'm bringing this up back to businesses, I'll come back down to individuals, but I'm so impressed with how the Glastonbury businesses really do come together and try to help one another. I know behind the scenes, we're all trying to figure out how do we work together? What do you offer? What can I give you? I know I've been working on bartering relationships between us and, people that are doing sponsorships or just supporting our local businesses. I mean, I'll give a little plug to, you can go to Home Depot and you can go to Lowe's for sure. But if you don't go to Ace Hardware and you don't go to, some of the other smaller stores, they may not be here when this is all said and done. So this is sort of my little plug for, shopping the small businesses and for us to find ways to help each other survive. But to your question about at the individual level, for sure. I mean, I always think about, whenever I'm working on something for a company, I've worked for a lot of the majors around, and I'm always thinking about what is our mission? What is the mission of this organization? And how do I personally contribute to that mission and really understanding that? So I think that's what I always try to do is to say, taking it from that macro level, what problem are we trying to solve for? And then how can I as an individual help with that? And that's how I would put together my goal. Well, I can go the extra mile for that customer, or I can, do whatever they're asking me to do, of course, within reason and legal, with legal ramifications in place. But I think it still always goes to what you do as an individual, how does that connect back up to the mission and the challenge that an organization may be faced with? Yeah, it's a really good question. And go ahead. Were you going to say something,
I just
Mary
have
Ellen?
a question for Walt. What you said is your business basically stopped.
Yes.
All of a sudden it's just stopped. So how does someone like that, how do you look at strategic planning, something following the model that Andrea was just outlining? Would that help?
And I heard her say that she was partially open, so it made it much different. If she was totally closed, it would have changed everything, which is totally right. I mean, even thinking 3 months out is impossible for me to even comprehend. I was trying to plan a week out. I was hoping that May 20th was going to be the opening. And so even 2 days ago, I was looking at trying to plan out for a week, how are we going to reopen? And when the state came out and they said personal services, but only hair salons and barbershops, it's like, okay, that changed everything. Now the next wave, they're talking June 20th. So I'm looking at possibly June 20th. So we're looking at a week at a time. So to me, maybe I'm not seeing it, but I think it's very hard for me to have a focus. I'm just looking at and relying on somebody else to tell me that yes, now you can go ahead back. The one thing you're talking about successes, and if you don't mind for 2 seconds, I'll give one of the problems I've always had is we have people wait to do a family photo session when a whole bunch of people are coming in for the weekend, whether it be an anniversary or a birthday, Father's Day, some big events. People come in from all over and people realize, hey, I need a photographer. Let's call a photographer. And so we do a whole bunch of those. And then we do in-person sales. You can see all the stuff on my wall in my studio behind me. We bring in people and we present them the proofs, and they determine, we walk them through the process. What makes the best product for you? Is it a canvas print? Is it a metal print? Is it a frame, no frame? We work with them through it. And the problem always is those people that go back to Michigan after the weekend, real tough for that to try to sell them anything from the session. And they always ask, well, how can we purchase anything? And the solution I've had is, well, I can put something online. They go, oh yeah, that'll be great. If you could put it online, then we can order. And what happens is you put it online and people realize they could take a screenshot, and then they use that, they post that on their Instagram, and then they never purchase anything. So that's always been a very frustrating, you're talking about problem to solve. There's a frustrating problem to solve with this whole thing. And getting proficient at Zoom. Somebody was saying it's like Zoom call to Zoom call every single day. I'm getting where like I can use Zoom now, and it all of a sudden hit me when that next family from Michigan says, can you put those photos online? I can say no, but I can do a Zoom call with you. I can share my screen and I can go through the products that way. So I think I've come out of this with a way to conduct business for the future, although it hasn't helped me in the short run. It can help me in the long run. The short run, I'm still at a loss. I'm still trying to decide how and when and why and what's the reasoning behind, the state offering some businesses the opening and not others, and week to week, day to day, trying to figure that out. But I know it's a long answer to your question. You're probably sorry you asked, but the long answer was, I think I figured out a long-term solution, but because of the circumstances and because of the Zoom proficiency, forced proficiency, I think I have a way to help myself in the future.
I think that is a brilliant gift that you got from this. It's brilliant. But you might want to think about, is there a professional photographers association?
There is. Yeah, there's a Connecticut Professional Photographers Association.
So are they lobbying on behalf of photographers with?
Yeah, and they reached out way back at the beginning. If you remember, people were starting to do these, we can do front porch sessions. We can do things from a distance. And the state actually came back and said, we hope you'll communicate to your members not to do that. That when we say stay at home, we mean stay at home. And if people see photographers going out and finding the loophole, so to speak, everybody will be looking for the loophole. So the state actually reached out to the CTPPA and said, please tell your members not to go out and do things from a distance. We mean stay at home. Please help us enforce the stay at home. So to answer your question again, they did actually reach out to the state and they were told, please stay at home. Please don't try to find a loophole, and encourage people to find the loophole.
I think the governor, there was a conference this morning. I think the reopening task force is looking for that kind of feedback. We had a meeting yesterday. The chamber had one of these online meetings with personal service providers. And they were making the case that if you're a boutique gym, you're not like the big gyms. You can have 1 or 2 people and you can manage a social distancing. So we're getting a little off topic, but the other thing.
But the thing is, how would I reach out to anybody who's in charge of making a decision for personal services?
Well, there was a senator and 2 legislators on that call that all heard it. They were bringing it back.
Good.
That heard what they were bringing what back?
That information to the governor's office.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I have a quick idea for Walt.
Thank you.
So obviously this is a time of creativity. One of the things I was thinking about, even though people may have more time than they normally would, there are a lot of tasks that maybe they don't want to do or they don't do well. And so with photography, many people have tons and tons of old pictures
Yeah.
that they've never gone through the process of maybe digitizing. And maybe you could show some old photos where you did that and improved the way they looked and things like that. And I don't
And
know.
I do that. I retouch and I edit, and I can take an old photo that's got cracks and rips, and I can make it good as new. In fact, that's one of the services that we offer. So yeah, I appreciate the comment. I've actually posted that on my social media that I'm looking to do. Somebody has a digital image that they would like worked on. I usually only offer my own photos, but I'll do it for you. I got to the point where even I was asking for, I'll do it for nothing. I'm shut down now. If you send me your digital photos, I'll work on them. I'll edit them. I'll send them back to you. I'll do that as a service now. And I've gotten very little response, but I have tried that kind of thing to reach out and see what we can do digitally. I just haven't gotten the response back on it.
Okay.
But I appreciate that. No, that's a great question. I haven't specifically thought of the old photos, but people would have to have a way to get them digitized. They'd have to have a scanner. They'd have to be able to do that and then send them to me. And if they could, like, yes, that's definitely something I could be doing remotely.
Walt, is that something, a skill that you could teach in a class?
How to touch up old photos.
Yeah.
Providing, I use Photoshop, which is a program to do that. Provided people had the program, yes, I could teach it.
Just a thought.
Yeah, provided that they see that again. That's one of the things. It's most people, unless you were a photographer, you would not have that software.
Mm-hmm.
So if people had the software, then yes, that could be something that could be taught online. Sure.
Make yourself an expert.
I know, that's
I
right.
was just going to say that. I was going to say, I think Mary Ellen is giving you a new initiative to think
know.
about.
Exactly,
In
offering
terms of
online
making
classes.
it online
Yeah,
class.
right.
That's exactly right. And the other thing I was thinking too is there are a number of restaurants that are closed right now. You know, that sit-down restaurants that have, you know, nice meals and so forth. I know for us, even for our small restaurant in Hartford, we take pictures of the food that we're going to offer so that we can have that online. Or even like gyms that, you know, haven't been able to open or they're doing online classes. Can you barter with them and maybe say, I'll take pictures if you give me this, and like figure out some ways. Maybe it's marketing. Have you thought about, I know I bought some time with Jackie Post, I'm not sure which last name she uses. She is offering a package deal on the featuring businesses. And we're doing it now because we know that, you know, May 20th, more things are going to start to open. This is a really good time. And maybe there's a way for you to sort of barter. So I think, you know, are there other relationships that are not as much cash oriented that you can partner with someone and say, I'll do this for you if you do this for me, and you agree on what those things will be. So it's just, I think Mary Ellen, excellent.
No, that's great.
Eric, thinking about outside of the box to continue yourself. Maybe it's not going to get you 100% of where you were, but at least it's sort of moving you on a new path that will help you be sustainable over the next 6 months if things don't
that's great.
get back online.
I appreciate it. I'm always looking for ideas. Thank you.
Yeah, great.
I have a question. I had to change our business model because primarily we would go into homes and offer free air testing and water testing. We have products both in the air purification and the water purification. So the lack of ability to actually go into homes is very real. And obviously that's going to be around for a while. So we just had to strictly go almost to telephone, email, and Zoom, as opposed to the being able to get into people's homes and actually be able to communicate, you know, face to face with them on whatever contamination issues that they were dealing with. So it's been a little of a challenge to do that, but I am learning how to use Zoom. So
Awesome.
that's a plus.
Awesome. That's great.
and try to get the word out through emails and social media and that sort of thing. And thank you very much for the offer, Tina. I'll take you up on that. I'll give you a call, and we'll talk about how to do that.
Well,
I was fascinated. Oh, sorry.
Go ahead, Andrea.
No, I was just going to say I was fascinated to hear about your business. I would love to chat with you offline about everything that you're offering. And I think more people want to know about what you're doing, especially in today's market. I think you are absolutely smart to learn about not only Zoom, but we had to call Cox because our Cox line was down in the plaza where we are, now we really rely on phone calls to do business, and we can't afford to have our phone lines down. And they won't even come into the stores. I mean, they're being very careful as well. But they did FaceTime with us. So knowing what the new tools are, whether it be WebEx or Zoom or FaceTime or video calling, being up on we no longer can we say, oh, well, I'm just a Luddite. I'm not into technology. You can't. Those days are gone. Those days are gone, and you have to know what all these things are if you want to have a sustainable business. So, that's got to become part of the vocabulary. And as you hear new terms and new technology, to not say, oh, well, that's not something I care about or I'm familiar with or I even want to get involved with, because it is the way of the world if you want to do business in this world.
Indeed.
That's for sure. Thank you for
really
those.
the truth.
Oh, Andrea froze. Well, I think we're about at our 1 hour time anyway. So
Okay.
On behalf of IRCA and AT&T, our sponsor, Andrea, thank you so much. Really,
Thank you.
I've never seen such a complex concept netted down into something so very succinct. So thank you very, very much. And thank you all.
It was my pleasure.
Thank you,
all
everybody.
who have been with us today, and we'll see you again soon.
Thank you. Stay
Okay.
safe, everybody.
Thank you all.